Welcome to Language Access Academy. Understanding medical words is essential for anyone working in healthcare. That is why we created this audiobook. It is based on the American Medical Association's Glossary of Medical Terms, and it is the perfect tool for medical students, nurses, medical interpreters, and anyone else in the medical field. Think of this as your personal background radio station. Just press play and tune in while you are on the go, driving, or doing chores around the house. It is an easy way to build your skills no matter how busy you are. For the best results, we highly recommend listening to this audio multiple times. Repetition is the secret to making these new words stick. If you want to read along with the audio, you can grab the PDF version using the link right below the video. Are you ready? Let's dive right into our very first section. The letter A. We have a lot of essential ground to cover, so let's get started. Our first term is the abdominal cavity. This is the part of the body between the bottom of the ribs and the top of the thighs. It contains most of the digestive and urinary systems, along with some reproductive organs. Next, we look at the blood with ABO blood groups. This is the system by which human blood is classified based on proteins occurring on red blood cells. The four classification groups are A, AB, B, and O. Moving on to abortion, which is the termination of a pregnancy. Keep in mind, this can occur because of natural causes, which we often call a miscarriage, or it can be a medical intervention. An abscess is an accumulation of pus in a body tissue, and it's usually caused by a bacterial infection. When treating cardiovascular issues, you might hear about an ACE inhibitor. This is a drug typically used to treat high blood pressure. ACE stands for angiotensin-converting enzyme inhibitor. Down to the lower leg, the Achilles tendon is the tendon at the back of the leg that connects the calf muscle to the heel bone. Let's talk body chemistry with acid-base balance. These are the mechanisms the body uses to keep its fluids close to neutral, neither basic nor acidic, so that the body can function properly. When that balance is off, you might see acidosis, a condition marked by abnormally high acid levels in the blood, often associated with some forms of diabetes, lung disease, and severe kidney disease. A very common complaint is acid reflux, a disorder in which acid in the stomach comes up into the esophagus because the valve separating the stomach and esophagus does not function properly. Acne is a skin condition characterized by inflamed, pus-filled areas that occur on the skin surface, most commonly during adolescence. When a condition is not present at birth but develops sometime during life, it is described as acquired. A critical example of this is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, which is an infection by the human immunodeficiency virus that causes a weakening of the immune system. When a condition or illness begins suddenly and is usually short-lasting, we call it acute. For example, acute respiratory disease is an urgent condition in which oxygen levels in the blood are lower than normal and breathing becomes difficult. Addiction is a dependence on a substance, like alcohol or other drugs, or an activity, to the point that stopping is very difficult and causes severe physical and mental reactions. Adenitis refers to the infection and inflammation of a gland, especially a lymph node. Adipose tissue is just another term for fatty tissue. It stores energy, insulates, and cushions the body. In cancer treatment, you might hear about adjuvant therapy. This is the use of drugs or radiation therapy alongside surgery to treat the cancer. Moving to the endocrine system, adrenal failure is a condition in which the adrenal glands do not produce enough of the hormones that control important functions like blood pressure. The adrenal glands themselves are two small glands located on top of the kidneys that secrete several important hormones into the blood. An adverse reaction is an unintended and unwanted side effect of some sort of treatment, usually drug therapy. Aerobic exercise is physical activity during which the heart and lungs must work harder to meet the body's increased oxygen demand. In mental health, an affective disorder is a mental disorder involving abnormal moods and emotions. Affective disorders include manic depressive disorder. Following childbirth, the afterbirth refers to the placenta and membranes that are eliminated from the woman's uterus. It is also common for the mother to experience afterpains, which are normal contractions of the uterus after childbirth that usually occur for the first few days after delivery. You will often see the abbreviation AIDS, which, as we discussed earlier, stands for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. Related to this is AIDS-related complex, or ARC, which includes symptoms like weight loss, fever, and enlarged lymph nodes experienced by people who are infected with HIV but do not yet have AIDS. In medical settings, an air embolism is the blockage of an artery by air bubbles, which may have entered during surgery or after an injury. An airway obstruction is a blockage of the passage of air through the windpipe to the lungs. The airways are the actual passageways that air moves through while traveling in and out of the lungs during breathing. Albinism is a condition in which people are born with insufficient amounts of the pigment melanin, which is responsible for hair, skin, and eye color. Alcoholic cardiomyopathy refers to heart damage and failure caused by taking in too much alcohol. The alimentary canal is simply another term for the digestive tract. Alkalosis is dangerously decreased acidity of the blood, which can be caused by high altitudes, hyperventilation, and excessive vomiting. In oncology, alkylating agents are substances used in cancer treatment that interfere with the division of cells. An allergen is a substance that causes an allergic reaction. A common reaction is allergic rhinitis, which is the irritation of the nasal passages and the whites of the eyes, causing sneezing, a runny nose, and sore eyes. This is all part of an allergy, a negative reaction to a substance that in most people causes no reaction at all. Alopecia means baldness or loss of hair, mainly on the head, either in defined patches or completely, and the cause is unknown. You might see the abbreviation ALS, which we will define fully in a moment as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Altitude sickness includes headaches, dizziness, and nausea, usually experienced at heights above 8,000 feet because of reduced oxygen in the air. Alzheimer's disease is a condition that occurs late in life and worsens with time, in which brain cells degenerate. It is accompanied by memory loss, physical decline, and confusion. Amenorrhea is the absence of menstrual periods, occurring either after or before menstruation has normally begun. During pregnancy, an amniocentesis is a procedure in which a small amount of amniotic fluid is removed from the mother's womb in order to detect abnormalities of the fetus. The amniotic fluid is the clear fluid that surrounds a fetus during pregnancy to cushion and protect it. Going back to that earlier abbreviation, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease, is the most common of a group of disorders known as motor neuron diseases. In ALS, the nerves in the brain that control the movement of muscles degenerate, and muscle function is gradually lost. An anabolic steroid is a drug similar to the male hormone testosterone that builds muscles and strengthens bones, but it comes with adverse side effects. Moving to the digestive system, an anal fissure is a long, open sore on the skin of the anus. An anal fistula is an abnormal tube-like passage connecting the anus to the surface of the surrounding skin. When you are in pain, you might take an analgesic. This is a drug that relieves pain, such as aspirin or acetaminophen. The anal sphincter is a ring of muscle fibers at the opening of the rectum that controls the opening and closing of the anus. A severe medical emergency is anaphylactic shock, a life-threatening allergic reaction resulting in difficulty breathing and low blood pressure. Anatomy is the structure of bodies, and it commonly refers to the study of body structure. An androgen is a hormone, such as testosterone, that causes the development of male characteristics and sex organs. Anemia is a condition in which the blood does not contain enough hemoglobin, which is the compound that carries oxygen from the lungs to other parts of the body. Anencephaly is a fatal birth defect in which the brain and spinal cord have failed to develop, resulting in the absence of a portion of the skull and brain. During surgery, a patient is under anesthesia, which is a loss of sensation in a certain part of the body or throughout the whole body. The substance used to temporarily cause this inability to feel pain is called an anesthetic. An aneurysm is an abnormal swelling of the wall of an artery, caused by a weakening in the vessel wall. Angina pectoris is pain experienced in the chest, arms, or jaw because of a lack of oxygen to the heart muscle. An angioma is a tumor made of blood vessels or lymph vessels that is not cancerous. Angioplasty is the use of surgery to make a damaged blood vessel function properly again. It may involve widening or reconstructing the blood vessel. Anorexia nervosa is a dangerous eating disorder mainly affecting young girls, in which the sufferer has an intense fear of looking fat, avoids food, and loses weight excessively. For stomach upset, you might use an antacid, a drug that neutralizes stomach acids, used to treat indigestion, heartburn, and acid reflux. A major issue in healthcare today is antibiotic resistance, the development by bacteria of the ability to live in the presence of a certain antibiotic, making treatment difficult. Antibiotics are the bacteria-killing substances used to fight infections. An antibody is a protein made by white blood cells that reacts with a specific foreign protein as part of the immune response. Anticoagulants are drugs used to stop abnormal blood clotting, such as to prevent a stroke. Antiemetics are drugs used to treat nausea and vomiting. An antihistamine is a drug that relieves an allergic reaction by stopping the effects of histamine, the substance responsible for the negative symptoms associated with the reaction. Antihypertensives are drugs used to relieve the symptoms and prevent the damage that can occur from high blood pressure. Antioxidants are substances that protect against cell damage by guarding the cell from oxygen-free radicals. Antipsychotics are drugs used to treat severe mental disorders. Antiseptics are chemicals applied to the skin that prevent infection by killing bacteria and other harmful organisms. The anus is the opening through which feces are passed from the body. The aorta is the main artery in the body, carrying oxygenated blood from the heart to other arteries in the body. If the opening of the aortic valve in the heart narrows, this is called aortic stenosis. It increases resistance to blood flow from the left ventricle to the aorta and is commonly a birth defect or caused by scarring from rheumatic fever. When a baby is born, they are given an APGAR score. This is a system for evaluating the health of a newborn baby, rated on a scale of 0 to 10. Aplasia is the complete or partial failure of any organ or tissue to grow. Aplastic anemia refers to a severely reduced number of red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Apnea is a possibly life-threatening condition in which breathing stops for either a short or long period of time. If you have appendicitis, you might need an appendectomy, which is the surgical removal of the appendix. Appendicitis itself is the inflammation of the appendix. The appendix is a short, tube-like structure that branches off the large intestine. It does not have any known function. As mentioned before, ARC refers to AIDS-related complex. Arteriosclerosis is a disorder causing the thickening and hardening of artery walls. Arteritis is the inflammation of the walls of an artery that causes the passageway to become narrower, which can lead to tissue damage because oxygen isn't properly supplied. An artery is a large blood vessel that carries blood from the heart to tissues and organs in the body. Arthritis is a disease of the joints characterized by inflammation, pain, stiffness, and redness. To look inside a joint, a doctor might perform an arthroscopy, a procedure using a viewing tube called an endoscope. Artificial insemination is the injection of semen into the cervix. Artificial respiration or ventilation is the forcing of air, either by mouth-to-mouth or mouth-to-nose means, into the lungs of a person who has stopped breathing. Ascites is excess fluid in the abdominal cavity, which leads to swelling. Ascorbic acid is simply the chemical term for vitamin C. Aspermia is the failure either to produce or to ejaculate sperm. Asphyxia is the medical term for suffocation. It can be caused by choking on an object, by a lack of oxygen in the air, or by chemicals like carbon monoxide that reduce oxygen in the blood. Asthma is a disorder characterized by inflamed airways and difficulty breathing. Astigmatism is a disorder in which the front surface of the eye, the cornea, is not correctly spherical, resulting in blurry vision. An atherectomy is a procedure performed to remove plaque that is blocking an artery. Atheroma refers to the fatty deposits on the inner walls of blood vessels, which can cause narrowing and decreased blood flow. This leads to atherosclerosis, the narrowing of the lining of the arteries due to the accumulation of fat and other materials, which can lead to coronary heart disease, strokes, and other disorders. Athlete's foot is an infection between the toes caused by a fungus, leading to sore, cracked, and peeling skin. Atresia is a birth defect in which a normal body opening or canal is absent. It usually requires surgical repair soon after birth. The atria are the two upper chambers of the heart. The singular form is atrium. When these upper chambers beat inconsistently and rapidly, it is called atrial fibrillation. If they beat rapidly but consistently, it is called atrial flutter. An atrial septal defect is a hole located in the wall between these two upper chambers of the heart. Atrophy is the shrinkage or near disappearance of a tissue or organ. Attention deficit disorder is a disorder mainly present in children and adolescents, characterized by learning and behavior problems, an inability to pay attention, and sometimes hyperactivity. An audiogram is a graph showing a person's hearing ability, determined from a set of tests examining hearing acuity of different sound frequencies. An aura is a warning signal that comes before a migraine headache or an epileptic seizure, which might include emotions or sensations of movement or discomfort. Auscultation is the act of listening to sounds within the body, such as the heartbeat, using a stethoscope. Autism is a mental disorder characterized by an inability to relate to other people and extreme withdrawal. An autoimmune disease is a disorder in which the body's immune system attacks itself. The autonomic nervous system is the part of the nervous system that controls automatic body functions, such as heart rate, sweating, pupil dilation, and digestion. It is divided into the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. An autopsy is the examination of a body following death, possibly to determine the cause of death or for research. In genetics, autosomal dominant describes a gene on any chromosome other than the sex chromosomes that produces its effect whenever it is present. It can also describe the effect of the gene itself. Autosomal recessive describes a gene on any chromosome other than the sex chromosomes that produces its effect only when 2 copies of it are present. And finally, for our A-list today, the axilla is the medical term for the armpit.